everyone, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and this is a review for episode 5 of Agatha All Along. Kind of late doing this one, but it was a busy week. Anyways, episode 5 continues the, episodic nature of this show, where every week we get a new trial, but it ends on quite the cliffhanger, which is surprising for this show, because I don't know how many episodes are in this. I guess I'm gonna assume it's like 8 or something. But this is definitely seems like a lead into what I would call the third act of this story. But let's go ahead and just talk about what happens in this. So the Salem Seven have actually entered the Witch's Road, I guess because Rio left open a door or something. I don't know. They came out of the same hole. They were like in their animal forms, and now they're just being all creepy and crawling around. So they have to run away. They actually do end up doing the witch's broom thing, which is interesting. They kind of mention like, why haven't we been doing this the whole time? And of course, the road forces them to come back down, so they can't actually just fly through the thing. But it was cool just showing like, yes, we can do the witch thing. And they eventually do crash and find the next game that they have to get through. And it is an 80s wooden treehouse cabin type thing. It's a cabin in the woods, filled with all the 80s stuff that you would normally find, and they're all dressed up in their 80s get-ups. It's like Friday the 13th, kind of with some poltergeist type stuff, and they have to play a Ouija board game. And of course, at first, Agatha is just kind of fucking around, like, oh, I'm Mrs. Hart, pretending to be possessed by Mrs. Hart, which is kind of messed up because, look, Mrs. Hart died for real, or Sharon Davis. She died, and I thought for sure that the show was gonna bring her back in some way, or like have her be a ghost or like a zombie version, kind of like in a, okay, she died but she's back, but like, no, she seems to be gone. Like I didn't think she would actually be gone, but I was like, dang it, because the mom from that 70s show, I don't know, having her in this show as like the normal one, like was gonna be a pretty funny thing, but they killed her off so early. I'm kind of surprised they haven't brought her back, but all right. Anyways, as they're playing around, there are still a whole lot of hints as to Rio's actual identity, which, if you don't know by now, maybe try and stay off the internet. Try and turn this off now. But Rio's actual identity has been spoiled by a Funko Pop, which I mentioned last episode. She is death. She's death. So there's a whole lot of hints towards that. I think when they're playing the Ouija board, the spirit or whoever's talking to them mentions like, oh, I am death, and she kind of laughs because she's like, yeah, okay. Anyways, so Agatha gets possessed, and it's actually kind of a creepy like makeup design they did. She's like crawling on the ceiling and going upside down, and she's got like a monster face, and it turns out she's being possessed by her own mom, the ghost of her mom. And here's the thing about this show. We're following someone who was the villain of WandaVision, right? And I guess the entire show keeps having you guess, like, are we supposed to sympathize with Agatha and kind of see maybe there's like a redemption thing happening here? But then other times it's like, no, she's just a villain. She actually is evil. And then her mom says something here where it's like, oh, you were born evil. I should have killed you when you were a child, or something like that, like, which, to be fair, like, yeah, Agatha killed her and all of their whole coven, so it's like, maybe she was right, I don't know, because what happens next is that Alice, she manages to summon her witch powers and blast the ghost out of Agatha's body, so saves her from being possessed by her mom. And then what does Agatha immediately do? She steals her powers. She does the thing that she warns them at the beginning of the show that she can do. She steals her powers, and Alice is dead now. And in the moment, it very much looks like she did it on purpose, right? Like, she reached out her arms, she did the hand movements, right? It's like, okay, she killed her, right? And so it's like, okay, 1 second, you're like, man, I feel bad for Agatha. The next second, like, no, she's evil. She really is, like, she is that evil, I guess, But then she immediately is like, oh, I can't control it. I didn't do it on purpose. And Teen does not believe her. And And at first you're like, well, damn, okay, maybe there is more to this. Maybe all of the evil stuff that she's done, all the people that she's killed, it actually didn't start off as being like on purpose. She really can't control it. But then, you know, Teen's like, I don't believe you, stop lying to me. And then Agatha gets sinister again, being like, oh, you would kill to get power just like I would, you know, you're not better than us, kind of thing. You're just like your mother. And this is where we have like our big reveal, I guess. It's, you know, people are calling it a reveal, but it is the thing that we've all guessed. So Teen does indeed seem to be Wanda's son in some form, because he immediately, like, he gets powers now. His hands start glowing, and he takes over the minds of the other witches and shoves Agatha in the mud, and then he blasts away the other two and they get shoved in the mud, and so they're all gone. And then we see that he has like a very, you know, Scarlet Witch looking crown on his head. So it's like, okay, so he is Wiccan. He is Agatha's son. Which, you know, that's where the episode ends. We have so many questions now. But yeah, well, first back to Agatha. It's like, you know, 1 second we feel bad for you, and then the next second you immediately kind of prove us like, no, you are evil, you know. So it is kind of like that. Is she the villain of the show, or is there going to be any kind of redemption at all for her? Because we feel bad, like, oh, her son calls out for her and she immediately seems to feel all this guilt. So it's like, so you did kill your son then, or you did sacrifice him to the demon or something. But I don't know, it feels like there's still chunks of Agatha's story that we don't know, because we're still missing some context. Like, why does she do the things she does? 1 second we feel bad, the next second we're like, no, she's kind of horrible. So I don't know. But also, yeah, with Billy, Teen, whatever they're gonna call him, whatever his name's actually gonna end up being, whether that's Billy Kaplan or something else, what's the deal there? Because I know in the comics it is this really complicated, like, you know, he got resurrected and then the soul of Mephisto, and then now he's this person. I don't know how they're gonna explain this in the MCU as like the TV version, because like all right, Wanda's kids were not real in the 616. They were just, you know, something that she manifested that she wanted, right? But in the multiverse, in other universes, they are real. So like there are, you know, as we saw in Multiverse of Madness, there are other universes where they really did exist and she really did have kids. So how does that, you know what I mean? Because like, okay, he's a teenager, which means if there ever was like a thing where, some other version of him from a different universe showed up here, but it had to have happened long enough ago that like he's a teenager now, so this would had to have been, you know, 17 years earlier or something, right? Or this is some kind of weird soul transference where like when Wanda died, part of her soul went somewhere. I don't know. It's very confusing how they can possibly explain this in a way that makes sense. I mean, like, sure, they could do the comic book thing, but let's be honest, it's really convoluted, and they haven't even introduced half the characters necessary to tell that story. So I don't know how they're going to explain this. Like, how is he here in real? 2, why is he a teenager now instead of a little kid like we saw him in, you know, as a kid version in WandaVision and in Multiverse of Madness? They were kids. 3, how long has he had the, like, this entire show has he been playing like a character? Like, did he know that he had these powers? Did he know who he was? Or has he just been like, is this just a thing he just now discovered that he can do? I don't know. There's a lot of questions. A lot of people were like really celebrating this reveal, and it's a good reveal, right? Like, you have the music drop and he's got the crown on, and he played the Billie Eilish song. Like, okay, I get it. But I just have a lot of questions now. You know, like, has he been able to do this the whole time? Was this some kind of, you know, long con revenge plot against Agatha? Or was this like, you know, did his powers just awaken and he doesn't know what he's doing? Or I don't know. I really don't know. I have a lot of questions. But anyways, it is a very interesting place to leave this because we have, I'm assuming, what, 3 episodes left. And yeah, this is like kind of a game changer. Like, we're not, it doesn't feel like we can just straight up do the next episodic, like, what is the next trial that we have to get through? Because they, you know, half the crew is dead and he threw the other half into the mud, so they're all going to be split up and divided now. And Rio was not there at the end, so you know, she's doing her death thing somewhere. I don't know, it feels like, I know in the trailers I think there's still like a Wizard of Oz type trial that still has to happen, but I don't know how you go back to just being like, all right, back to the trials. Like, after this, you know, it kind of feels like, well, we have we have bigger things to talk about now than just these trials. Like, so you got to address all of this, what just happened. So anyways, pretty cool, but lots of questions, and I hope they answer them. Like, nothing irritates me more than when these streaming shows end and they don't actually answer like half the questions that they just introduced. So as long as they do that, I'll be happy. But yeah, I got questions now. So anyways, let me know what you guys think about episode 5 of Agatha All Along, and what are your theories as to how are they going to explain this? That's my big thing. Like, he's a teenager and he didn't exist in this universe, so did he cross over, or is there like a soul thing, or did someone make him, or is he not related to Wanda at all? But then that wouldn't explain why Agatha mentioned his mom and all that. So like, questions. I got questions. Anyways, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.